I mean, if you look at a long-term chart from like the 12th century to now, it's only gone above 100 very few times. And every time that it did, it was there for extremely short amount of time.
So, David, we have to talk silver, of course. Otherwise, the audience will wonder why we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the gold to silver ratio is now higher above 90. And it hasn't been this high since back during, I don't know, the initial March of 2020. The initial, let's call it the virus crisis. When I think it got as high as 126 back then. But 90 is still pretty high because, this has been in the 60 to 70 range for much of the past 2 years. I don't know. Historically, this tells you, silver's the one to buy, but I don't know. Maybe get worse. Maybe go higher. What are you thinking?
Well, both. I mean, when we saw that March, 125, 126 to 1, I had people I know and trust ask me what did I think. Of course, no one knows. I said, I don't think it would go above 100. I mean, if you look at a long-term chart from like the 12th century to now, it's only gone above 100 very few times. And every time that it did, it was there for extremely short amount of time. Mm-hmm. And so when it did, and it was 125 to 1, I had built a lot of cash and I bought the day before the low. And the day before the low, I think it was around 14 or something like that. I think it hit 12-ish. And I called the dealer and I loaded the wagon. And then the next day it dropped another $2 or whatever it was on paper. So I called my dealer and I said, geez, if I just waited a day, and I only would have saved about 75 cents on the retail side. And I was working with a pretty good wholesaler. So that's the physical market. Now, to be fair, I could have gone to the futures market like I did in the 2008 crisis. We had $13 silver, but $9 on paper. And I actually bought 1,000-ounce bars and had them, took them off to Golden State Mint in Florida. It was in California at the time, and made my own rounds. I had
nice,
several thousand of these stamped out. He has this die already with the Indian. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it now.
And then the back of it.
These are the ones you made? You got these?
He stamped them for me. I bought the bars. That says silver-investor.com. My old domain. I changed it to the Morgan Report years ago. But so I ended up, with $9 silver plus the cost of the dies and the cost of stamping them out. But even with all those costs, like $10, right? Mm-hmm. So back to the 90. It's, as you showed it, Jim, it's spiking. Is it going to go up there for 3 days? I doubt it's going to be there 3 weeks. I almost bet my life it's not going to be there 3 months.
Yeah.
So it worries everybody, and it's not right. But I don't control the markets, and there'll be people that capitulate. It's like I've held silver. I bought it at some of the Wall Street silver people. I mean, quite honestly, Ivan, I think you guys have been spectacular. It actually surprised me somewhat because I didn't know if you had the wherewithal to hold during ups and downs. And almost all that I could determine, I don't read the Reddit boards a lot, but what I've been able to determine through the investment shows, talking to you, watching almost every video Wall Street Silver puts out, people understand why they own it. And if you have a big enough why, you're going to hold on to it, even though the paper price changes. I mean, I know this sounds trite, but it helps me on days like this that, if you have more silver in July of 2022 than you had in July of 2021, by definition, you're wealthier. Yeah, but the price last year was 28. Now it's 19, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, but you have more silver. You got to think of it in terms of silver.
Oh, I'm trying to scrape together enough cash to buy another monster box of Canadian. I'm not going to buy American Silver Eagles because those are still crazy premiums. But
the
Canadian Maple Leaf premiums have actually come down quite a bit to be almost reasonable. So I'm thinking really hard about scraping together the cash for a monster box of Canadian Maple Leafs. So anyways, that's how I'm handling the gold to silver ratio. This might buy 500 ounces of Canadians.
I want to digress for a minute. I did 2 shows in Las Vegas in person recently. And on the second one, I stopped by the Sunshine Mint. There is one over in Coeur d'Alene, just an hour and a half from where I'm sitting.
Mhm.
But the big one is in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I got a personal tour because, I am who I am and know the people. But basically, they're running 24/7. I mean, they're running shifts of all day, every day. Told me
Wow.
they're having trouble hiring people. It's a very tough job because the building isn't that well air conditioned. It is, but it's in Las Vegas. But the point I'm making is this: with all the demand, they cannot keep up. They just cannot keep up with the amount of demand there is in the silver market. They do everything from custom, 1-ounce rounds to 10-ounce bars to 100-ounce bars. I mean, they do the spectrum, and it was quite a change to see it because it's so much bigger than the Coeur d'Alene minting facility.
The question a lot of silver and gold and precious metals people have is the Fed really gonna, in the middle of a recession, now that it's official, and there's no way for the media to really ignore this, I don't think, they're gonna have to acknowledge we're in recession. Does the Fed then keep raising rates in the middle of a recession? I mean, have they ever done that? Just ignore the recession and keep raising rates regardless?
It's interesting you asked that, Jim. I just got that question on one of my from my peer group on my Skype account, and basic answer is no. They've never really. There was one time in 1974, GDP was -5%. Inflation was 11%, so kind of similar to where we're at, except the GDP is even lower. And they did raise interest rates, and it was because of oil price shock. So they decided to raise interest rates. So the official rates 9 to 13% from February to July. After that, then they started bringing them down. Problem the Fed has right now, they aren't high enough to take them down. And I want to elaborate on this. I just finished the Morgan report. I'll publish it this weekend, but I don't mind telling the public. My take, and it's my take, it doesn't make me right or wrong, but I've got a lot of years on me. I think on the next meeting where they go for interest rates, they will do a pause. I don't think they'll raise, and I don't think they'll lower. I think they'll come out with we want to see more data. Janet Yellen's favorite statement, right? And so they'll pause and wait. And when that happens, I would anticipate a huge move in the stock market. Oh, they're going to lower interest rates, and happy days are here again. And unfortunately, but I'll say it, look, I'm paid to help people through these markets. I think you see a spike down in gold and silver, a stock market high, gold down. But that won't last very long. That'd probably be, in my view, the last opportunity to buy a really good price. And then the next the next interest rate raise, it will either go neutral or lower them. I doubt highly that they raise them. And then we got the gold trade back on, stocks start coming back down. So that's what I see for the future. A crystal ball's behind me. It's broken. Take it with a grain of salt or heed. And I always, I've been very good for years about letting the market tell me. Right now the market's telling me what we said earlier. We're going to get a spike into the gold silver ratio. Is it going to 100, 125? I'll keep my mouth shut because I don't know. I had to guess. We'll probably get close to 100. I don't think we're going to get above that, but we'll see.